Jim Miller, who's here with me promoting a new book. Good morning, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me in.
This book is going to be crazy popular.
Well, I certainly hope so. I know Storyland itself is, and this book is all about Storyland's history from 1953-54 when they first opened, right on through 2008.
This is an amazing process. Now, I got introduced, I had heard of Storyland as an adult, just coming to the area. I moved here in like early 90s. But I had heard of it. Never had the opportunity, really, unfortunately, until I had kids. I mean, adults go.
Yes, they do.
The kids definitely driving force.
Absolutely.
So I've spent the last 6, almost 7 years now at Storyland, almost on a daily basis. Pass holders, proud pass holders. Amazing place to take the kids. Tell me about the original idea for Storyland.
Well, Storyland happened in 1953 is when they started. The Morrill family, Bob and Ruth Morrill, bought the land up there. That was all they could afford. They wanted to build a Bavarian village in North Conway, but found out in 1953 their $5,000 in savings would not buy much even then. So they were able to buy that land up there, $2,500 for about 100 acres of land there. It was boulders and sawdust piles and rocks, and it was an old sawmill in that space. And the seller was saying it was too poor even for pasture. And so what they had decided to do was to try to build a village based on storybook characters. They had bought some dolls when they were in Germany. Bob Morrill had served 2 terms, or 2 stints with the U.S. Army, and was in Germany in 1950 to 52. And bought some dolls that inspired this whole idea of building a village.
It's amazing. I mean, when you drive around the corner, it's almost, you're like, what is that? You have the crooked houses and the fence and but it's amazing amusement park, and I love taking my kids there. The idea is it's clean, the rides are safe, they're fun, it's all storybook characters, as you mentioned.
It's great. It's part of the chapter headings of the book there. You'll see that one of the chapter headings is called Safe, Smooth, Smiling, Spotless Service. That's the 5 S's. Anyone who's worked at Storyland over the last 35 years will absolutely be able to recite to you the 5 S's: safe, smooth, smiling, spotless service.
Really?
Exactly
I'd never heard of that until I saw this.
If you haven't worked there, you hadn't heard of it, but as you just said, you noticed that.
Absolutely.
You noticed that it's safe. You noticed that it's spotless.
Yeah.
You
don't know
that people
the terms,
smile.
but you know it's happening.
But you see that it actually works.
Now let's talk about your stint there. You were there.
Yeah, I was there
for
from 2001 into 2009.
Nice.
Mostly doing marketing and some other things, and I had a great time there. It was a great place to be. One of the things I always enjoyed about it was if I could get away from the phone and the computer at 9 o'clock when we opened the gates and watch the people. I could look over the parking lot from the 2nd floor and see the people waiting and anticipating the chance to get in, and then at 9 o'clock the rooster crows and Good Morning Storyland plays and the gates open, and then you see those kids as they come in through the gate and they just get in and dance and jump around, and anticipation has been met with a great thrill, and it goes on from there. So
it really is so amazing. Now, you left in 2009, and you just couldn't leave, though. You just couldn't leave it behind.
That's right.
Because you created this book. Now, tell me about why you created this book.
Well, I had seen that series. It's the Arcadia Publishing series called Images of America. And what those are a series. It's a series of books about small towns, and they have a series about theme parks as well. And I had seen other theme parks covered in that series, and I thought, really, Storyland needs to be a part of this series. And so I had actually heard from Arcadia in 2006, right after I thought, we really should be a part of this. And they went ahead and called us, and I said, sure, we'll do that book. And it turns out, of course, when you're working there, you just don't have time to sit back and look through all the old photographs and newspaper articles and all the rest of it.
Opening day till closing day, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's a good kind of crazy, but it's crazy. So I was able then, when I left there, to devote the time to it, several months to it, and the park was kind enough to give me access to all the photos and
Well, that's what I liked about this book. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, all the captions.
Well, it's mostly about the pictures anyway.
It is, and it's just seeing the progression from where it started, what worked, what didn't, how they've changed it to really cater to the families. Yeah,
it's great. There's we have 3 different park maps in there. One from the original year in 1954 when it was actually called Storytown, and then 1960 when they had done their first bit of expansion with the castle area and the train, and then 1980. So you can see how it's grown but what has also stayed and been kept around there forever and lasted forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know that it's going to be around for a long, long time to come, but it is really cool to see the historical pictures of things that, the pirate ship and the new buildings being built. It's just really an amazing story of a success story.
It is. It is. We include a chapter in there about Heritage in New Hampshire, which operated right next door for 31 years, right on through 2006, opening with the bicentennial. And
now, do you have the inside scoop? What's going to be happening?
I don't have the inside scoop of what's going to be happening, but I do understand that the building is in the process of being transitioned from Heritage to something else. So I think if anyone had an opportunity to walk through Heritage right now, they would not recognize it from what people saw for 31 years there.
Very cool. And folks, if you've ever been to Storyland and been to the antique cars too, they have the maps on the wall. You guys have pictures of those maps in here of the progression from when Storyland opened to what it is today. Now, your favorite ride, Storyland. What did you ride the most?
It's really hard to say. I must say that like you, I come from away, so I never went to Storyland as a child. I first went as an adult with my daughter, who was 2 years old at the time. So we didn't go on that many rides, and that's one of the great things about Storyland. It's not all about rides.
Right.
And so we had a great time there. I would say one of the greatest memories I have there was when my son, who was about 3 years old, when we went on the bamboo shoots.
I love bamboo shoots, especially on a hot day.
And, he said, "Oh, Dad, we got to go on bamboo shoots." I said, "All right, I will." And I still have that picture hanging in my office at home of the coming down there, and his face in the front seat. There's a 3-year-old, looks just like that panda face on the front of the boat there.
I have to admit, that's one of my favorite rides, too. And it is so much fun because bamboo shoots is sort of like a flume ride. So you go up in this panda bamboo-looking tube, and you go down, and they take a picture on your way down. So you go over to the booth right away. And even if you don't purchase, I just love to see the faces. And I have to admit, I have like 5 or 6 of those at my house because every time they're just like, oh, I have to get that one. Like my my youngest son's first trip down, his face is just like,
a lot like the panda.
Yeah, oh my God, my older son is in the front and loving it, knows what to expect. My younger son was sort of going along because his older brother was doing it. He was tall enough so he could go. Is there a height restriction? So he was excited to be able to be included. But oh my gosh, the faces are priceless. So that's just one of the small tidbits that you can find at Storyland. But you can really get a lot more into the story by picking up this book. Now, where can they find it?
Well, there are several outlets here, and I'm going to have to look at my list here so I don't miss anybody. And in the greater Glen Bartlett area, you can get it at Grant Supermarket, Lucy Hardware, and Kennel's Country Store there across from the Scenic Vista.
Okay.
In North Conway, there's White Birch Books. Borders Express down at Settlers Crossing, and actually I'll be there today from 11 to 2 to talk to people just like we were doing at Borders Express.
And that's right down the
right down at Settlers Crossing here on the strip.
Great.
Yep. So I'll be there from 11 to 2 to talk about Storyland, hearing your stories. That's what I hope to do when I'm out there, and I'll sign in people's books if they want that as well.
Cool.
Book Warehouse, and I'll actually be there on Friday.
And that's the one over in
Settlers Green.
Okay.
Yep. So I'll be there on Friday. Walgreens in North Conway and Zeb's up in the Village.
Fun.
And then at several attractions, you can get it at their gift shop, Storyland, the Auto Road, Clark's Trading Post, and at the Visitor Center over in
and don't
Lincoln.
forget Gorham, White Mountain Cafe and Bookstore.
White Mountain Cafe and Bookstore, and actually I'll be up there for an appearance as well on August 11th.
Okay, so we have Borders Express today from 11 to 2, Book Warehouse, and that's Friday, August 6th from 3 to 7, and then up in Gorham at the White Mountain Cafe on August 11th.
That's right.
Where can they find more information? I mean, is there a number they can call or a website they can go to?
As far as more information about buying the book itself, they can go to arcadiapublishing.com and see some of the other titles that are out there as well.
Okay.
And that's probably the best resource.
Okay. Well, Jim, thank you so much, and congratulations. Was it daunting, sort of thinking like, I'm going to be an author? Well,
it wasn't. It's always been a suppressed desire of mine anyway, since I got my English major many years ago. So this is something I had always had on the top of a list to do, and had never gotten around to doing it. So this was a great format to work with and get it done with a place I'm still very passionate about.
Great. And now that you're a published author, is this the first and only, or is this the first of many?
I hope it's the first of many. You know, I have other projects I'm looking into, but nothing solid to speak of just yet. But
great.
yeah, I certainly enjoyed the process, and I love the way it turned out. So.
Well, great. Well, congratulations on your continued success with the book, and looking forward to getting my copy signed.
Oh, very good. Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Jim. All right, we'll be actually back to wrap the show in just a few seconds, or should I wrap now, guys? Oh, no. We'll have a quick break, and then we'll be back to wrap the show.